Hi guys, I'm Alex Lee with the Marshall County 4-H, and today I'm starting my 2021 Tier 1 garden project. So this project is all about really just growing in containers, and we'll just go to the record book first off. So right here I filled out my first day of what I'm doing. So you want to give your date when you record your project, and you want to give the temperature that it was, the high and low, and if it rained that day or not. And then right over here on this side, you just want to kind of keep a record of what you did that day on watering, or today we're planting. So we'll just get right into it with planting plants. I've got an eggplant, a tomato, a cherry tomato, and a jalapeno pepper. So when you're planting, you want to make sure you use potting soil in your buckets or any type of pot. You want to make sure you use potting soil because this holds in the moisture, unlike your normal garden soil or your plain soil that's out in the garden. Okay, because it'll hold in a lot more moisture than your normal soil. So right here I've got the eggplant. And just kind of keep that little tag on the side where you know what it is, just in case you forget. So you just want to pop it out of the container. Don't pull on it, don't tear it up, because they're very fragile. Kind of dig you a little hole. Make sure it's all packed down because you don't want any air pockets in the bottom when you plant your plants. Which, when you water after you plant, because you want to water your plant after you plant where it can get kind of invited into its new home. It'll get rid of all those air pockets. So right here I'm going to use some worm castings as a fertilizer for today. This is going to help hold in moisture too. Just kind of mix it in with that potting soil, which the potting soil, if you buy the potting soil, you're going to have plenty of nutrients already in it. So there we go. We got one down. Now we'll move on to the tomato. Just kind of want to dig you a little hole in the middle. And in these buckets too, because you don't want to keep water standing in the bottom. Oh, that guy was ready to be planted. He's gonna love it in his new home. You want, in the buckets, you wanna make sure you drill holes in the bottom, because all this water that you give them, because they're gonna need it here in the south where we have a bunch of hot humidity. Right now it's the end of May and we've already got temperatures in the 90s. It's really hot. But anyway, so you wanna make sure you water plenty. Every day you want to make sure you water, and you want to make sure you have holes in the bottom of your buckets, and we've got a few along the sides too, and 4 in the bottom, to make sure it has plenty of drainage, because if the water stands in the bottom, you'll have root rot and it'll destroy your project. Let's put some worm castings on this little sucker right here. Okay, now we can move on to the pepper. There we go. So this project is really just about growing in containers, and you're not bound by, you can grow in anything really, is what, you're not bound by just if you've got a bunch of acres of land to grow on, like a garden back behind me. So you can grow in anything. Don't matter if it's a 5-gallon bucket or a 2-gallon bucket or a little bitty pot that's on the porch or a dish. You can grow in anything. So I'm gonna get that one put worm castings on it. And this one's really just for anybody who's just now getting started in gardening, because this project is just because to go ahead and get started growing in buckets like this, to where you know the basics of gardening, and then you can move on out to the garden and grow a lot more if you've got room for that. So I got that. So now we're going to soak them in really good. After you get done planting them, so make sure you soak them in really, really good. Usually you want to water in the early morning or late afternoon, right before when the sun's coming up or when the sun's going down, because they've got time to take that moisture in and get prepared for a new day. And they'll already be healthy and ready for that new day. So you want to keep these in pretty much full sun. Now, on some of those days when it gets really, really hot, you might want to provide them cover, or you might want to maybe just water them in really good, or maybe even move your pots. Like I might move mine this afternoon up toward the shade, to where, because tomorrow it's supposed to be really hot, and we're not supposed to have any rain coming. So you want to make sure you protect your plants. If you see them getting burned or crispy, then you want to move them into the shade for a little while, or at least give them some sun, but part shade. So next I can talk about trellising. We don't have our cages out here right now, but we have our little green cages that, that's the really small cages, not the big wire ones, that you can just push down the little corners down into the edges, especially for your tomato. The other ones probably won't need it. But you want to make sure they have some type of trellising to go on there to protect them from the wind, where they won't fall over and break over. So that's all for your start for your garden Tier 1 project.